Good morning, class. I am not dead. I am still here. Just work, panic. So, I finally got a week off. So, we're doing a bit of bulk recording. So, obviously, this will be chain recorded for me. But I'm going to be spreading it out over the weeks. Just so you've got something whilst I'm working. I'm going to cut back and try and do one video a week at this point. Because I just can't keep up whilst work's going on. It's just too draining. But we are here for deck profiles. This is the lyrical stuff as well as the DBT04. Because we've got all the lyrical ones set. I'm still missing a lot of stuff to finish half the deck, so don't expect an army to get going with. But we've also got two decks that got some really nice support in lyrical set in the DZBT04. That's not named Leisure Field, because I have not got my Leisure Field bit yet. But we are starting off, as I said, with the lyrical set, and the sleeves may give a big clue to what we're doing first. It is the door. So this is the fun prism-based deck. It is separate from Labrador, because for some reason they wanted to make it its own separate deck. But this is really generic and digs into the old school Bermuda style. So let's start off by taking a look at the ride line. Starter, it's just pick any starter. There is no need for a specific starter. Whatever this side, because obviously this side I will try and get my card pop-ups as I usually do. Then with grade 1, we have gone for our Mermaid Idol Sender. So she's got the skill of when she's rode upon by top Idol Aqua, you can Soul Blast 1, check top 7, look for a grade 2 or greater unit and add it to your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So really nice, because a lot of our key pieces that we want to be seeing are grade 2 or greater. And top 7 is a nice big range that you shouldn't fail that often. I say shouldn't being the key word, because in my test games with this deck, because I've had a fair few of them, I have whiffed. And it is painful. There's not much you can really do about it. So obviously by that we then can guarantee that our grade 2 is the top Idol Aqua. So top Idol Aqua's got skill. When this unit is rolled upon by a grade 3 Mermaid, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to one grade 2 or greater unit card from among them, fill it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So it's a dimmed down version of Mermaid Idol Sedna. Only gets to check top 5 but doesn't have the Soul Blast cost, which is really nice. Carry on digging for our key grade 2 and greater pieces. Such as the boss unit of the deck, Prism Image Vert, who is unironically a mermaid, if you hadn't guessed. So, Vert has got two skills. First one being her Act skill, which is a Act Vanguard Circle once a turn. If you do not ride with a card's ability this turn, you can Soul Blast 1, use up to one card from your hand with the same card name as this unit, and ride it as a stand. If you ride a card, you then draw a card, choose one of your Vanguards that gets 10,000 power till end of turn. But, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you then get the red text instead of the power plus 10k that all of your front row units get power plus 10,000 until end of turn. So, really nice big pressure. Do a Persona ride if you're going to be going into a grade 3 Vanguard. But the second skill is really important as well. That's her auto skill. This is Auto Vanguard Circle. When this unit attacks, you can Counter Blast 1. Choose up to one of your rear guards, return it to your hand. Choose up to one grade 3 or less unit cards in your hand and call it to rearguard circle. It doesn't have to be a unit, sorry. Grade 3 or less card, but it's going to be a unit, otherwise you're losing the card. So, basic, on attack, bounce and call. Generic Bermuda stuff back from OG Bermuda days. There is no restrictions on what she has to bounce, what she doesn't have to bounce. The bounce is optional. It says choose up to 1, so I can choose 0, bounce nothing, and then just call something from hand, which is really good when you look into the grade 2s, which we'll get to in a bit. creates some really interesting combos. And the ability for her first skill to stack with Persona Ride, giving 20k to the front row, does provide some really big pressure columns. But with those done, let's move on to the grade 3s. And obviously we are starting off with our extra 3 copies of ISM-Image Vert, because you want to Persona Ride, you need to ride her for the skills as well. So, really important card. But I've got more cards in my hand still, so what other grade 3s are we running? Well, I have gone for 2 copies. Oops, as I accidentally flashed the last one, but it's an obvious part one. We are running 2 copies of the Moon Nestling Fantasia Edelheid. So, first skill is a continuous rearguard circle / guardian circle. If your opponent drove check or damage checked a trigger this turn, this unit gets power plus 10,000 or shield plus 10,000, depending on what they did. So, an extra 10k shield for the deck is really nice. And then we've also got her second skill, which combos really nicely with attack extensions in the deck. Because at the end of the battle, this unit attacked while boosted, you can Soul Blast 1 and perform all the following. The normal one is you can... Wait, 1 second. The font is not the easiest. Choose one of your other rearguards in the same column as this unit and return it to your hand, so you return your booster. Or you can remove an overtrigger from your drop. Choose one unit card with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard from your hand, and call it a rearguard circle. So this creates an extra attack by removing your overtrigger. It's mainly here just for the fact that I can then call it down off of there, Soul Blast the booster that's left on the board to give extra shield for it if I have it, or playing down extra abilities if need be. Because Soul functionality isn't amazing in this deck. Because we are Soul Blasting every turn for Vert, and we're Soul Blasting for another card, which I shall talk about later down the line. But to combat that lack of Soul generation, we have gone for our regular piece being the Radiance Caliban, which has obviously got 2 separate options. You can perform either the draw 2 cards, or you can put this into Soul and countercharge 1. So the into Soul countercharge 1 is our really good option for this deck, because obviously Soul generation is needed, and Counterblasting for Vert and other cards does add up over time. But Drawn 2 on its own as well is still a really good option on top. More times than not, I do use it for the Intersoul countercharge if I've been struggling for the counter blasts. But when you look at the grade 2s, you'll see why it's a bit of a counterblast heavy deck. Because we are going straight into that grade 2 now. This is the first one on the pile. So the first grade 2 we have is our beautiful ISM-Image Rosa. And Rosa has got 2 skills. First one is, when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, choose a grade 3 card with Vert in its card name from your hand, and you may reveal it. If you revealed a card, or have a grade 3 Vanguard with Vert in its card name, you can give this unit power plus 5,000, and then you may cast Counterblast 1 to draw a card. So that's where the Counterblast comes in. On plays, Counterblast draw in a bounce and recall deck is really strong to have. But she helps mitigate that Counterblast in herself as well with her second skill. Her second skill is, when this unit attack hits, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Vert in its card name, countercharge 1, and then return this card back to your hand. So being able to hit anything for the bounce back to hand and counter charge is really good, because it doesn't specify it has to hit a Vanguard. So this, when you're combining the Vert plus 10k to front row, her plus 5k, the Persona Ride plus 10k, that alone is 35k. You swing that at a rear guard, they're either letting you have the counter charge, or they're chucking 20 odd, 30 odd k shield down to stop it, which is really good to have. But what other grade 2s are we running? Well, the next part is where the deck starts to get a bit expensive. Because our next grade 2 is the ever so beautiful Loving Pink Flan set. Our first skill is a Chris Rain locked skill, so we are not really going to be discussing it in this video. Because the reason she's here is her second skill, which is when this unit attacks, if you have... Oh, sorry, the errated version says, when this unit attacks, choose as many of your rear guards as many of your units as you wish. If you chose 3 or more with different card names, and they have different card names, this unit gets power plus 5,000. If you chose 4 or more and they have different card names, at the end of the battle this unit attacks, you choose one of your rear guards and return it to your hand. Apologies, I'm doing the errata from memory because obviously we haven't had an errata replacement yet for Franset. And honestly, we only got the errata replacement because Japan got confused with the, oh, but I've got duplicates, which it really wasn't that hard to understand, unfortunately. So having Franset in this deck is really good because it lets us have a good early game because obviously we can chuck a board down, swing with everything, and then Franset starts bouncing stuff back to hand. We have got other cards that work along this as well, and we should cover those down the line. But even then, outside the early game, being able to, on your Vert swing, bounce your roses after you've done all your attacks, to place them back down again on the following turn to Cat Blast or draw a card. Really good game plan, honestly. You can also bounce your Adelhides if you want that extra little bit of shield. But what's our last grade 2? Because I've still got a few cards left in my hand. Well, we've gone for the nice and simple Dazzle, Bubble, Paradise, Pressia. So this is the basic energy cycler that every nation got in DZBTO1. So first skill is the same for everyone, which is the when the unit is placed on Guardian Circle from hand, or when it's discarded for the ride deck, you can Counter Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3 to draw a card. Second skill, which is the unique one, is when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, if you Persona Road this turn, you can either Counter Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3 to choose one of your units, and it gets power until the end of the turn. It gets power plus 5,000. And if you chose a Rearguard, you can return it to hand, and from Rearguard Circle at the end of the turn. So this is really good for us because the deck doesn't actually have energy outlets. So this is literally a free usage of energy because energy blasting 7 to draw 1 just is not worth it. So having both skills work off the energy is really good for us. More often than not, you don't use the second skill because you're already bouncing so much of your board as is. But it is a in case of emergency break glass situation. Even if not, the plus 1 extra card for drawing is just really, really good to have. But then we move on to our grade 1s, and I'm going to cover the bluntly obvious grade 1s that we're using to start with. And that is our perfect guards. Yes, I run 1 Sanctitude and 3 perfect guards. Because you still want Sanctitude for the fact of Luard being the main threat. There's obviously the Drag Strider, the one that says you can't use Sentinels. These Sentinels. Grade 1s are great, sorry. This bypasses it, obviously. I'm not going for the Festival Collection one, so we don't have many non-crest reliant decks at the moment. So obviously this still works the exact same way against the Stride deck sets. It's got the bonus that it works against the grade 4 decks. Maybe if we see Love and Berry come to English, I might swap to the other one. So obviously the other Sanctitude will work against the Love and Berry decks. But for now, this one's staying. Next card is the finale to our beautiful Prism package. And that is our Prism Image Clear. So Clear's got two skills as well. First one being Auto. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle, cast, discard a card from your hand. Search your deck or drop for up to one grade 3 card with Vert in its card name. Reveal it and put it into your hand. And if you search your deck, shuffle your deck. This is inclusive deck and or drop. So you can search deck, fail to find, and then grab one from drop. But this is what enables the deck to keep functioning, because obviously we can now use this to loop our Verts. And in a bounce recall deck, you can sometimes even get this 2 times a turn, which is really good. The second skill is a nice simple one of continuous. During your turn, if you've got a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Vert, she gains plus 5k. So simple 13k booster, which does make stupid magic numbers when you're combining the plus 20k to the front row as well. But what other grade ones we got? Well, we have gone for more generic staples in our Cooling Heart Eureka. So we said obviously about more cards for the early game, and Eureka helps with that very much. But the first skill is Auto, rearguard circle, once a turn. When your other unit is placed in the same column as this card, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets power plus 5,000. Yeah, we have lots of 13k boosters. Deal with it. Then, second skill, which is the important one, is at the end of the battle, this unit boosted a rearguard. You can Soul Blast 1 and turn the unit it boosted back to your hand. So this lets us have, on our first grade 2 turn even, you can have a unit here, our Vanguard, and then Franset and Eureka. Swing, swing, swing. Franset will then bounce this rearguard as long as it's not named same as any of your other units. You'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 different names. You'll be bouncing this, Eureka bounces this, you've rushed down, and you've then bounced your hand back to protect yourself with. And your opponent can't swing at your rearguards, which is really nice to have. Then our next grade 3 is a little bit of more energy usage, because we can last really long in this deck due to the fact of the sheer draw power the deck has. And I've gone for 3 copies of Sea Song Alastino. So, got 2 skills. The first one's not as important because it doesn't come up that often. And that is, when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, if your Vanguard's grade is less than or equal to your opponent's Vanguard, this unit gets 2,000 power until end of turn. Then, if you played an order this turn, you can Soul Charge 1 or Energy Charge 1. So, doesn't come up that often because obviously to put this down we've got to be going second, which is not what we ideally want in the deck. And by the time the opponent's Vanguard is the same grade as us, they're grade 4, and our back row is normally consisting of our Eurekas and our Clears. So why is it in here if that first skill's not that important to us? Well, it's the second skill where it actually thrives, in the Auto, rearguard circle, or drop zone. When your other card is discarded from your hand during your turn, you can cost Energy Blast 3 and remove this card. Choose one of the discarded cards and put it into your hand. This makes our Clear a free on-place add a Vert to hand, which is really good for the deck. This does also work with our Ride deck discards, so if we're forced to discard a piece for Ride deck, we can still Alastino to get that part back out of the drop zone. So, really nice key piece, and it's again using energy that the deck doesn't use outside of the Precious. So, really nice combos and fluidity. And the last card we've got is our Rainbow Jewel Beast Ulfrace. So, Ulfrace has got the skill of, when this unit is placed on rearguard circle or put onto guardian circle, cast a total of 2 cards from the soul or drop that were in the Ride deck, face up and perform one of the following abilities according to the circle it was placed on. If it was placed in the rearguard circle, choose a card with the same card name as your Vanguard, from your soul or your drop and put it into your hand. And if it was placed in the Guardian Circle, this unit gets shield plus 15,000 until end of battle. So this is technically our 5th copy of Clear, because we can put it down to grab one of our Verts back from soul or drop. I do stress you do not want to use this twice, because that means you're removing a Vert from circulation. So more often than not, you are going to be using it for the 20k shield. But it is in case of emergency break glass if you don't find Clear. Because if you haven't realised by this point, Clear you need to be seeing as soon as possible, and the ride line doesn't search it. So you've got to hard draw into it from either card effects or your mulligans or just drawing for turns. It is a very uphill battle if you do not have Clear. I found out yesterday the hard way. But that's that. All we have left is our triggers. And we've got some really interesting options for triggers to go with. So for our first one, which is the obvious part, we have gone crits. I've got my 4 beautiful effect crits. Because a little bit of soul generation can actually help. Plus, the 2k does come up if you're using it to boost before you're attacking with Vert. You can give the 2k to either Vert or her booster. Because we're only running 13k boosters. It then helps the Vert hit magic numbers. So the 2k does matter. Whereas the 4k doesn't hinder unless you're having to chuck it down in front of your Eureka. And if you're chucking it down in front of Eureka, where on earth are all your grade 2s? We are only, however, going for 7 crits total, because you do need draw power in this deck. Get going. Because once you get going with your roses, you're good. But you need the draw power first to find the roses to keep the draw power going. So 7 crits, 4 draws. I have gone for 4 heals. I'm running 2 of the plus 15k shield if your opponent's the unit attack 2 or more times this turn. This is because I prepped for a Shiranui day of when I did my shop challenge yesterday. You can do 4 normal heals, do 2 with 1 of each counter heals. You can do 2 one of the specific ones if you're expecting something for your meta. That is down to personal preference. The last card is obviously our Overtrigger. And we've gone for Romeo and Rumia for this one. Because who doesn't love even bigger numbers? Is the honest response. You can also go with things such as the Hidosflow for the extra crit, as well as adding something back to hand. You can also do the not Red OT. Red OT is actually bad in this deck. Actually, no, Red OT is not too bad if you put it onto Franset. But putting it onto Rose is bad for the sheer fact of if Rosa hits, you've got to give up the second attack if you want the counter charge. They could block the second attack. So yeah, not too sure on the red. Purple's not too bad because you can do a certain attack pattern that you get 5 attacks out, but not amazing. And the light OT, it's just like I'm already drawing a stupid amount of cards. I don't need more draw power. So that's why I settled on Romeo and Rumia, because I honestly felt that the 10k to the entire board, that's not the Vanguard, was honestly a lot more important. It does last till the end of the fight, which is the important part. Getting to add 1 card back from drop and 1 extra crit on 1 turn is just a stone's throw when you've got a stupid army big hand anyway, because you're just drawing constantly. But that's the end of the deck profile. We have got to the end of the list. So, overall opinion on Vert. I'm going to pop our Vert back there for now. Honestly, a really strong deck. It's a very sleeper pick. My shop challenge I took it to yesterday, I ended up going 2nd place in Swiss, only losing to Eva because I didn't see clear the entire until turn 5, which at that point already so far behind. And this was even with me checking OT on turn 3 and my opponent damage denying me, so I didn't even have a single point of damage on my grade 3 turn. So, can't do anything about that. But, really played real, then top card I faced into Shiraneri. And that's all I need to say. I did, however, manage to beat Razile. I did play well in Shodo Doji. This deck's got a really nice Shodo Doji matchup because you can rush them quite early on, and you're hitting for big enough numbers that you're not actually... You're getting around their lovely plus 10k shields from the 10k shields from the bind, because they cost them so much to actually guard. But I also, what was the third deck? Oh, Prison was the other one I faced, and that's literally just a, oh, okay then. And just got to play the game how I wanted to. So, really nice to have. But it's not amazing. I will say, I do feel we need something pressuring on the rearguard that's just not big numbers. Which we might see in the next lyrical set if they decide to give her more direct support. But we'll have to wait and see on that. And that's all it's going to be for this video. If you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe. It very much does help the channel. We're edging closer and closer to that 1k mark. I do want to see if I can hit that before Divangasai next year. And I shall catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye!